So as you might imagine, I spend most of my time researching passenger operations for my layout. My layout is set in southwestern Ontario, and it follows a sort of proto-inspired corridor between Union Station, West Harbour and Hamilton, and theoretically places as far-reaching as Montreal or even New York. So, naturally, a lot of energy has gone into learning about the history of passenger equipment, schedules, timetables, and movements. But what that means is that there's also huge swaths of railroading I'm completely ignoring. And freight is an example of that. And even though my layout is passenger focused, I did include a small representation of CN Stewart Yard in Hamilton. I laid track for it, and once you do that, now you need some freight cars. But if I'm going to go down that road, I want to do it right. Not obsessively right, just plausibly right. Like something that might actually show up in that yard in that part of southwestern Ontario. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't know what I'm doing. I often get notifications about upcoming pre-order deadlines. New runs from Rapido, North American Railcar, Aurora Miniatures, you name it. And I find myself stuck. A pre-order advertisement for a particular car shows up in my inbox. It looks cool, might be fun to weather, but is it actually appropriate for my layout? For Stewart Yard? For this part of the world? So I decided I would start asking ChatGPT. I opened a fresh ChatGPT session and told it, in plain English, what I was working on. An N Scale layout in southwestern Ontario, focused on a passenger corridor between Union Station and West Harbour, with a small CN freight yard in Hamilton. I'm doing some research for my N Scale layout, and I'll be asking a few specific questions about freight operations and rolling stock. I'm looking for straight, factual answers to the prompts I give. No need to make suggestions or jump ahead unless I ask for it. Can you keep the responses focused on what I ask?
Absolutely. I'll keep responses strictly factual and focused on your specific prompts. No suggestions or extra information unless you ask for it.
I asked it what it could tell me about the Stewart Yard, and it came back with some useful information about subdivisions, traffic, types of freight, and so on. I am modeling an N-scale layout set in southwestern Ontario with a small version of CN Stewart Yard in Hamilton. Can you summarize what subdivision it's on, what kind of freight moves through it, and what the yard handles?
CN Stewart Yard in Hamilton, Ontario is on the CN Oakville subdivision. It handles mixed freight, steel, automotive traffic, and some unit trains with interchange via Buffalo. The yard supports local switching, classification, and industrial servicing.
Then I told it I was looking for pre-ordering a set of center beam flat cars. Would this car be plausible for that yard? Which road names would make sense? And what kind of lumber loads would I see? It came back with a ranked breakdown of what was highly plausible, what was a stretch, and what was unlikely. Would center beam flat cars be typical for Stewart Yard?
Center beam flat cars are common at CN Stewart Yard, used for transport and building materials. They serve local distribution sectors, industrial customers, and through traffic to Northern Ontario, the GTA, and the US.
I am going to paste a list of center beam cars that are up for pre-order, including their road names. Can you tell me if this type of car or any of these road names are plausible for Stewart Yard?
When it comes to freight cars seen at CN Stewart Yard in Hamilton, most CN-owned and affiliated road names like CNIS, Ontario Northland, and Wisconsin Central are common and prototypical. Pool cars like TTZX also show up regularly. You might occasionally spot cars from BC Rail, BNSF, Norfolk Southern, or even Union Pacific, especially in patched form. But something like a Copper Basin Railway car? That's a stretch, pretty unlikely for this region.
My yard is tight. What's the minimum number of cars that would still look realistic? And what road names would you prioritize?
For tight spaces, a 2 to 3 car center beam consist at CN Stewart Yard is totally realistic. Think CNIS, Ontario Northland, Wisconsin Central, or TTZX, perfect for local delivery or short transfer runs.
I went train spotting at Bayview Junction not long after that, and those exact road names and car types rolled by. I ran the same test again weeks later with a totally different car. The Greenbrier Cryo-Train Reefer. Same process, gave it a list of available road names and asked if these would make sense. The response was more cautious, plausible enough if I wanted the variety. None of this is meant to replace what you might call real research, but it does help me focus my attention. Instead of me spinning my wheels and not knowing where to start, I can get pointed in a direction that makes sense and then go confirm things in the real world. And for someone like me, who's interested in railroading but not necessarily immersed in it. It makes the learning curve feel a little more manageable. The tool doesn't do the work for me, it just gets me to the work faster. So there you have it. A brief overview of how I use an AI tool to help me get further along in railroading by doing a bit of the research for me that I can go confirm on my own. I hope this has been helpful for you. I know it was a big eye-opener for me. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.
I'll be here when you get back, though I'm not the only one watching anymore.